Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today we need to talk about some new updates to the Jack Eichel situation, a situation that's been heavily updated over the past couple of days from guys like Darren, Dreger, Elliotte, Friedman, and more. And according to those guys as well, there could be one mystery team that could end up trading for Jack Eichel, and that trade could be coming pretty soon. Now when it comes to Jack Eichel, what is the latest news and what is the latest trade rumors, and could we actually see a Jack Eichel trade within the next few weeks? Watch till the end for all the latest news and trade rumors, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you are new. 60% of the people that are watching are not subscribed. If you like hockey and if you like trade rumors, this channel is the place to be. Now, it's pretty weird that we've seen so much information over the past couple of days, but we've seen a ton of new updates on the Jack Eichel situation. One of the most important ones, though, came from Darren Dreger this morning as I'm recording this, who basically left the floodgates wide open in terms of potential trades that we could see. Now, Darren Dreger this morning talked about something very interesting, and before this, the idea with Jack Eichel was that the medical issues and the Buffalo Sabres not getting his records out was pretty much the main reason why Eichel's value has plummeted, at least to where it is right now. But it seems like from Darren Dreger, according to him, that has changed, which is huge news for the Sabres and potential trades that we could see. Now, Darren Dreger said this: sources say the Eichel saga may be shifting. Ongoing discussions and additional access to Jack Eichel's medical file has helped teams with trade interest clearly see his situation. Both sides are hopeful something can be worked out soon, and one of the clubs in the mix. So there is a ton there. First things first that we want to point out here is that, again, it seems like additional access has been given to Eichel's medical file for other NHL teams, which is a huge breakthrough because initially, no teams got anything at all from Eichel's medical file, but it seems like now more access and more info has been given out, which has actually led to apparently some optimism from some NHL teams, and Darren Dreger says both sides are hopeful something can be worked out soon with one of the clubs in the mix. So there is still multiple NHL teams out there in the mix with Jack Eichel, but it seems like there might be one team that's really rising above the rest to try to get a deal done. And again, it seems like with this medical file being released or being at least more access with, it seems like there's more optimism and more reason for other teams to actually trade for him, which is great news for Jack Eichel's health and great news for his potential play this upcoming season. And this is such big news for the Jack Eichel situation. Having that additional info and having actually more interest because of it, I think means once again that Jack Eichel is more healthy than maybe we previously thought, which leads me to believe, well, leads me to just question why the Buffalo Sabres haven't done this already, but better late than never, and it seems like a lot more teams are interested. Now, one of the main things as well that also came out over the past couple of days was coming from Elliotte Friedman, who put out a couple of big bombshells as well over the past couple of days, maybe hinting towards maybe a couple of teams that would be interested. And again, with that additional info being apparent, I think that means a lot more teams will also be in the mix, and this could be definitely a very fluid situation, especially with this NHL season starting. But Elliotte Friedman's first tweet was this regarding the actual Jack Eichel situation. Eichel's a player who got legitimately injured in an NHL game. It's not like he did this skydiving. Players believe if you're injured under those circumstances, what is happening now shouldn't happen. You should be taken care of. And Elliotte Friedman also goes on to say this as well. I don't think Buffalo and Vegas can make a deal because of Krebs. I've heard Buffalo wants Krebs in that deal, and I don't think Vegas has any desire to do that. And again, we go to another quote here, but I'll go do it in a second. But that is pretty big news, of course, with how we get a little more understanding on Jack Eichel's actual feelings towards the situation and also potential trade partners. So it seems like Vegas is maybe out of the mix now, with Peyton Krebs being pretty much an untouchable for them, which I can understand to a point because Peyton Krebs is awesome and I think he'll be a great top six forward in the future. But at the same time, if Jack Eichel truly is healthy and would have an opportunity maybe to not get surgery, maybe get that surgery and be okay, I think for Vegas, a team that's trying to contend, that might be pretty much their missing piece, and I think he'd be great as a Vegas Golden Knight. But I can understand where they're coming from with that, but at the same time, even though there's a lot of teams in the mix now, it seems like Vegas isn't one of those teams and might not ever be. Now, Vegas is out of the mix, but another Pacific Division team actually got some big recognition here from Elliotte Friedman in the Jack Eichel situation. And this is a team that I've always wanted to see go after Jack Eichel because it just makes too much sense, and it seems like they went very hard and might still try very hard to get Jack Eichel. And Elliotte Friedman said this: One of the teams we one of the teams we knew that was really big into it was Calgary. Calgary really tried, and not once did anyone ever say to me he, Eichel, wouldn't go to Calgary. So this is interesting. Now, Elliotte Friedman in this quote doesn't say that Calgary is still into Jack Eichel, but he is saying one of the teams that was really big into him was Calgary, and Calgary really tried, and not once did anybody say he wouldn't go to Calgary. So that is very, very interesting. Again, Calgary might not still be in the Jack Eichel sweepstakes, but they were definitely one of the biggest teams going after him, and almost apparently from this tweet had a trade happen. Now, Calgary makes so much sense for Jack Eichel, and I still think they should get that trade done. I think Brad Treliving's job depends on it, honestly. But at the same time, I do think with Calgary being in the mix before, now with additional info being released, I still think Calgary could definitely be in the mix and could be the team that ends up trading for Jack Eichel. Even if they were before, I think it can still happen, even with the prospects they have right now. They have enough, I think, to make a deal happen, especially if they're sending back a Sean Monahan or maybe a defenseman back as well. I think Calgary should make this deal happen, and I think the interest should still be there from Brad Treliving. If he makes this deal happen, if Jack Eichel is healthy for this next year, Calgary is, I think, a lot better of a team and could have some really good options going forward. Now, the Calgary Flames aren't just the only team that was in on Jack Eichel or is in on them now. We also got a very interesting tweet from Forever Blue Shirts, who has had some big rumors with the New York Rangers in the past, basically detailing what the Ranger situation is still with Jack Eichel and if interest is still there, which, spoiler alert, might be the case. And he says this, or they say this. On Jack Eichel and a possible deal, I've already said the New York Rangers are that team. I've also learned that they have been on this for a long time. Jury, despite playing coy this summer, has been very interested in him, Jack Eichel. I do believe the deal will include Zach Jones and Vitaly Kravtsov. So we get some big info there on the Rangers' status with Jack Eichel. It seems like they were kind of shy of making a deal in the summer, but have maybe been led back to it with this preseason, with this season, which again, I think Jack Eichel will be amazing on the Rangers. Better late than never for them as well. But at the same time, we do get some confirmation here that the Rangers have been on him, which we've known for a while, but they are still in on him, which I think is the most important part. But when it comes to the trade, it would include Zach Jones and Vitaly Kravtsov. We know that now, which personally for me, if Jack Eichel is going to be more healthy than we thought, and maybe he gets that surgery and he's completely fine, let's say, maybe midway through the season, I would be okay with giving up a package like that, maybe a first as well on top of that, and maybe another prospect. I could see that happening, maybe an NHL player instead of that extra prospect. I think you could kind of build a pretty solid framework out of that potential trade. And again, for a team like the Rangers, if you were able to get Jack Eichel, I think that would be absolutely perfect. Even though Mika Zibanejad's chances of re-signing are a lot less because of it, I still think Jack Eichel, when healthy, would be perfect as a New York Ranger. And honestly, if the biggest piece you're giving up is a Vitaly Kravtsov, I'm personally pretty fine with it. I love Kravtsov. I think he's going to be great this next season, but he's also not an untouchable piece like I think a lot of people think he is. But if Jack Eichel is healthy and ready to go, that would be okay with me. If he's not, then obviously Vitaly Kravtsov should stay a New York Ranger 100%. But in the past, people were saying the Rangers would have to give up a Nils Lundqvist or maybe a Capo Caco or even Alexis Lafreniere, and to only give up a Zach Jones or Vitaly Kravtsov, I think is pretty good considering the circumstances. I do think Jack Eichel's price has dropped, but it seems like it hasn't dropped as much as maybe people expected. But at the same time, I still think the Rangers could get a deal done with the plethora of prospects they actually have. Now, going back to that Darren Dreger tweet where he says, with one of the teams in the mix, obviously implying there is a ton of teams still out there trying to get Jack Eichel services, and with the additional info on his medical file, that probably being improving as well. When we go back to that, I'm very interested as well to see which teams are interested, because now we pretty much can rule out Vegas as a trade unless they're trading Peyton Krebs, which again, doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon. Right now, we know that Calgary was super in on him. Now they might not be, but they could be in as well. The Rangers apparently have continued their interest throughout this whole process and are still in on Jack Eichel, so we can pencil the Rangers and probably the Calgary Flames as one of those teams. Now, we also have heard a little bit of confirmation in the past with other teams as well in the mix. We've heard Columbus potentially being in there, and I could see Columbus being that mystery team that comes out of nowhere and potentially trades for Jack Eichel even as soon as this NHL season. Even though they are in a rebuild, I still think Columbus could be one of those teams that goes after the situation and tries to take advantage of it. But there's other teams out there that have also had some connected interest. We heard a little bit before about Seattle being heavily interested in him. Whether they can actually make a trade or not is another story, but it is a factor. You'd likely probably have to include Matty Beniers in that trade, for example. But there's other teams out there that could still be in the mix. Not as many as it would be in the summer, probably, because teams are about to start their NHL seasons. But at the same time, it seems like Jack Eichel's health has improved, perhaps, and that additional info has been a lot more optimistic, that I think we could see a trade this season. I said a couple of weeks ago that I don't think we'll see a Jack Eichel trade until this next offseason, but now with this additional info and the updates here, I do think we will see a Jack Eichel trade pretty soon. Now, pretty soon as in the next few months, but that's a lot better than what we were expecting a few weeks ago. At the same time, though, it seems like there's going to be a lot more that has to be done before we do see a trade, a lot more info giving out to teams, and a lot more discussion. But at the same time, it looks like even though we're back to square one, there is some optimism in a Jack Eichel trade, and we could actually see it happen. There's a plethora of teams out there that would love to get a number one center right now, and even though there is still some big concerns with health, it seems again that additional info has led to a lot more optimism. So I'm pretty optimistic right now, and I do think we will see a Jack Eichel trade pretty soon. But you know what? And do not tell anybody about this, okay? You know what I'm thinking? Jack Eichel will be traded in December. He will get his surgery, and the team he'll be traded to is the Ottawa Senators. Do not tell anybody I told you that. I have no sources, but just trust me, bro. It'll happen, and go back to this video whenever you want to when the Sens trade for him. It's going to happen. I just have a feeling in my body. It's going to happen. A feeling in some bones. It goes electric wavy when I do it. It's going to happen, okay? And it'll happen for the Sens. I'm going to predict probably maybe a Brady Tkachuk involved in that deal. If they don't re-sign him, I don't know. Maybe just floating that out there. But I do think the Sens will be the team to get it done, even if they might come out of nowhere to make it happen. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy today's roundup of rumors, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that notification bell if you haven't already to join the Ground Gang and to be here for the long haul, baby, for all the new uploads and all the new live streams. Make sure you comment down below. What do you think about this Jack Eichel situation? What do you think about the recent updates? Do you think we'll see a trade now? Who do you think will trade for him? What do you think the package will be? Let me know all your thoughts. And of course, make sure you share this video with your friends. Get it out there and click on this card for all my trade rumor content right in one bingeable playlist. My name is Nathan. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.